You ready?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Welcome to Real Vegas Podcast.
Hold on.
I'm trying.
Come all the way over. Real people, real fun. Let's get to it, guys.
All right, guys. Welcome to Real Vegas Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler May, and we are here in Henderson, Nevada at Cult Gym?
Cult Fitness.
Cult Fitness. So, if you don't mind, tell the people out there what's your name, what do you do, what's this gym all about? Let's get into it.
Let's do it. And it's great to have you. Thanks for having me, brother. I appreciate
thanks for having me to your gym. Great. I want to do a little
welcome.
plan.
Everybody should be coming to places like this.
Right?
100%.
It's got a good vibe here. Everyone here has been really, really friendly about us filming here.
Yeah.
It seems like the music's good.
Well, that's the bodybuilding industry. No one's about judging here.
Okay.
Everyone's about come as you are, and we all started somewhere.
Right? You have a very, he has a, what's that guy's name? You have a very Joey Swole type of look.
You need to
better.
do
That
better.
I'm not yet, and that's it. You're not competing against the guy next to you. So you're not competing against me. I'm not competing against you. I'm not competing against the guy that's Mr. Olympia.
Okay.
I'm competing against me.
Yeah.
Every day, day in, day out. Did I do better today than yesterday? And that's how life should be lived.
I had a really good friend of mine that's very big in the fitness world. His name is Rome. He's back in LA.
Mm-hmm.
He would always say, when you're getting into fitness, you shouldn't look at somebody else and go, I want to be that. I mean, it's okay to have a little bit of inspiration.
Sure.
But you should always be the best version of you.
Right.
What's the
right.
best version of you?
100%.
Because your body type might be different than my body type. Your goals might be different than my goals. But as long as you're pushing yourself and
if you settle for me, how do you know you couldn't have done better than me?
right? I mean, we're all different.
Yeah.
We're all different ages,
Right.
different groups. We're all training for different reasons.
Right.
So we're at Cult Fitness, correct?
Cult Fitness.
In Henderson, Nevada. Well, everybody's welcome here, but when we were
Right.
talking before, you said there's a lot of industry bodybuilders that work
Yes.
out here. And how come they would come here other than other
Okay,
gyms?
that's a great question. By the way, my name's Brook Corbett.
Brook
I'm an
Corbett?
IFBB Pro Masters, which is over 35.
Okay.
I'm 60 years old.
Real quick, while we have you, Brooke, how do they? What's your Instagram? How do they find you on Instagram?
Dr. Brook Fit.
Dr. Brook Fit.
Dr.
We'll put
Brook
right
Fit.
here.
Right here.
We're gonna
Dr. Brook Fit.
And we're gonna put a caption thing right here
Cool.
for you.
I'm an IFBB Pro.
So you're a pro.
I'm a pro.
Wow. So what brings you and other pros? Why would you want to come?
We come to
this
a gym like this because in whatever you do, you want to be around people who are better than you or seeking the same things you're seeking.
It makes sense.
So,
You're not going to get that like in
no,
at other
if you
gyms.
go to a health club, I'll call them,
Okay. Yeah.
your commercial gyms,
Yeah.
I'm 100% for them. That's where I cut my teeth in fitness. I started at a small place called, it's not around anymore, but it was Jack LaLanne's. And then I went to the YMCA and LA Fitness, and I did the whole circuit. And then I found that I had an affinity towards pushing myself even farther. So then I wound up in New York, and I was working out at a place called Powerhouse in New York. And that's where I really developed the affinity to bodybuilding. Now, there were a lot of magazines there. Muscle and Fitness was the biggest magazine. So we were gleaning from Muscle and Fitness.
And what was the place called in New York?
Powerhouse.
And that, in
There was
Powerhouse,
also one called Pumping Iron.
Was that also like very like-minded people that really
All
want to
bodybuilders.
be all bodybuilders? You're not.
And again, you're going to get some lifestyle people in there. And we love it because they want to be better.
Yeah.
They don't have to be bodybuilders. Competition is something that's, well, not for everybody.
No, but like you said, whether you're competition or not,
Right.
everyone seems really friendly here. It's been a great. I didn't know people were
We're
gonna
not. What makes us any different than anything else?
Sometimes here's my opinion. So you said more bodybuilders here and stuff like that, which I understand. But
Sure.
I've had experiences in public gyms where I call them the steroid assholes.
I get it. I get
They
it. I
just
get
walk
it.
around like with a smirk on their
Right,
face, and
right.
I haven't seen any of that here. You know,
Well, because everybody's just trying to be better today. Just
I like
today.
that a lot.
And if you're better today, who am I to say? Because we all know we began somewhere. I've only been competing. This is my third year of competition.
You've only been competing. If I didn't know you, I'd say you've probably been competing at
Well,
least
my
10
whole
years.
life I've been a lifter. But there's a difference between being a lifter and a competitor.
Because competitive, you have to go. It's not more about strength. It's more about how you say aesthetics. Or is it both?
Well, it's both.
Okay.
A competitor's where you're doing it as a life. That's your life. You're competing. Everything you do, the discipline required, the lifting, the food, the recovery, the sleep, the water. I drink a gallon plus of water a day. I take so many supplements. At 60, I'm on no medications whatsoever.
That's great. While we're on topic, I like to drink a lot of water too.
Okay.
I'm a big water guy.
And it's great for your kidneys, unless you have stage 4 or 5 kidney disease.
Well, then that's different. But
Right.
I've always had an irrational. I don't know if it's irrational, but I've always had a fear of kidney stones. But I heard just drinking lots of water, you won't get those. And
Lowers the risk.
It lowers the risk. It could always happen.
Sure.
But a lot of people that I've talked to that have gotten those, the common factor is they never drink a lot of water and they drink a lot of soda.
Mm-hmm.
And that would, or a lot of beer. A lot of beer will do that too.
Yeah, well, alcohol is dehydrating.
It is.
Now, when I say water, you can drink coffee. They used to think coffee was a dehydrator. There we go. Yeah, and
I'm a coffee guy, but
I am too, big time.
I make it with spring water.
You know, when you heat it up and it boils, it pretty much kills off just about everything in there.
Okay.
So
there's not a better water you can use for coffee because it's gonna be.
I grew up on tap water. Now, at 60,
drinking out of the hose, right?
Yeah, right. So I mean, and we used to drink. Our parents used to just pour water in, boil it. In the days when they wanted it, when you want to purify something or sanitize it, what do? You heat it up. You boil it.
We had one of those things we put on our faucet.
Right.
That did it for you. Or,
yeah.
As a kid, like you said, it would just be out of the hose, right out of the faucet.
That's right.
But I feel like water. I don't know if you know much about the water industry, being a health guy, but I feel like it's a little bit. It's more.
They add a lot to water these days.
They do, right?
Yes.
I heard there's even chlorine in our shower water.
Yes.
What the hell?
If you have the option between bottled water, doesn't have to be. You can easily get a filter, put tap water in it, filter out a lot of the impurities.
Right. Do you use a water filter for your shower?
I don't, because I don't drink the shower water.
Right. But they say
it's in your skin, it absorbs.
Right.
But I mean, there's a point where you have to say, okay, where am I going? How far am I going to go on
How am I
this?
going to take this?
I'm already at the point where people look at me and go, you're out of your mind.
So to rewind just a little bit, because you brought up your diet and you said a lot of supplements. So what supplements would you recommend to people that they take and don't take? And what do you take?
I take supplement for every system in my body. For my skin, which is a system, an organ in your body. For my heart, my blood,
okay,
kidneys, liver, brain, a lot of supplements for the brain.
So I've heard I do like a multivitamin. And I've also
very
heard
important.
And I've also heard that fish oil is good.
I take fish oil twice a day.
What are ones like you said for your skin? What do you take?
I take a lot of collagen.
Okay.
Now collagen's in every cell. And collagen's one of the first things that breaks down. Now the reason, as you notice, our skin gets thinner, more fragile as we age. It loses that elasticity and that youthful look.
Absolutely.
There's something, without getting to, I'm also a doctor of physical therapy, so I've done some medical school. But there's a layer in there called the basement layer. And that's usually what disintegrates or we lose first.
Okay.
And that's primarily because the collagen bonds break and they don't repair themselves.
And and no matter how good you take care of yourself, you're eventually going to start losing as you get older.
We haven't been able to beat Father Time yet.
No one can.
No.
I mean, good Lord.
I'm doing the best I can, and there's a lot of research now. And you try and increase the telomere length on a cell because as it shortens, the cell dies, and it's hard to regenerate.
I will say, if you don't mind me asking for the people, how old are you?
60.
You're 60 years old. You
60.
see this guy? Can you give a flex for the 60 years old? I mean, good Lord, bro. There's a lot of people that lose it. I see people lose it in their 30s that look so just worn down.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that because that's going to lead me to my next topic.
Okay.
Everyone says, well, they look at me and, oh, he must be on steroids and gear.
Well, so what? That's what I say.
Yeah, I say so what, but we still live in a world that judges.
Absolutely.
I'm on what they call testosterone replacement therapy. Now, getting back to the 30s, when you're in your 30s and sometimes late 20s, our testosterone, especially with the foods we eat today and all the GMOs in it and all the processed stuff, it decreases our testosterone level.
It does, doesn't it?
100%. You go back 100 years ago, 50 years ago, and men our age, your age and my age, had testosterone levels 100 to 200 points naturally that were higher. And as we go back farther in time, with the less processed food, a normal testosterone level could be 1,000 plus.
So obviously diet, but I heard, after I gotten more into the what I put into my body. I heard processed foods is some of the worst crap you can put into you.
100%.
They cause a lot of diseases, a lot of
every disease out there, everything from, and as I said, I take a lot of stuff for the brain. We're talking about issues that affect your brain, issues that affect every organ system, specifically cellular death. Anything you put in your body that wasn't designed, isn't natural, synthetic, is not good for you.
Yeah, one of the greatest things.
And that's the only thing I take synthetically is the TRT, but I have it doctor monitored.
Okay, that's one of my questions.
And we're getting back to that. The TRT, as we age, our testosterone drops. So if you notice lethargy, you notice lack of initiative, you'd rather come home, sit on the couch, turn the TV on, than get up and do something. Well, there's a good chance your testosterone levels have dropped. We as men don't notice it until it hits us below the waist.
Right.
And we're not able to perform the way we were when we were younger.
And what's crazy when you say that, because I feel like I'm in pretty good shape. I like to work out. I do.
You look like you're in great shape.
I am, but thank you very much.
You are.
I see people that are younger than me that like already have the bellies and already have like it's almost like, I don't want to say like a sad look, but just like
that countenance is just whoosh. It's a downer.
And it's like, and I'm wondering it's because, like you said, that you get into this habit of eating bad foods and then getting at home and not being motivated, laying on the couch, maybe having a few beers every night.
Yeah.
And then also, my biggest thing is like, I like to drink whiskey sometimes, but like straight up whiskey, as long as you don't go overboard, it's not that bad for you. It's the whiskey and Cokes. It's the whiskey and diet. It's all that crap you're putting in with it. Like, I know plenty of people are like, whiskey, Coke. I'm like, how many? I think all the Cokes you had for you is worse for you than just sipping on a whiskey.
So you're talking to an ex-addict alcoholic.
Okay.
I used to shoot heroin. I used to shoot cocaine. I used to shoot crystal meth.
Wow.
Just about anything you put in the syringe, and what company is that? A lot of alcohol, a lot of mixture.
Right. The mixers.
Yeah.
You really did all that?
I did that when I was what you call a health freak. The guy that worked out at the health clubs.
But you weren't healthy on the inside.
No. And this is what was driving me there. I believe we all have some addiction or another. I've learned to transfer my addiction to more healthier addictions.
I love that. You're true. That's so true. I'm addicted to golf.
And it's a healthier addiction.
It is. It really is.
It beats sitting in the bar all day long or sitting at a slot machine or playing the cards or
that's so true.
Yeah, we're in Vegas now or even drugs.
Like you would say, I think you have a healthy workout addiction.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm sure.
And that's why I did it in a matter of 2.5 years, as opposed to guys that are doing it for 10, 20 years.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
I just adapted the lifestyle.
I like that.
That being said, the reason I love bodybuilding, it's a microcosm of life.
Okay.
You have to wake up and stay on a schedule. It's not the lifestyle. You just wake up, hit the gym, do a little steroid here or there, and maybe eat a little bit healthy.
Speaking of, real quick, I don't mean to interrupt, but as far as like the steroids, so one segment I don't like, I don't do them personally, but with that said, I don't have anything against them really, but I hate it when people are like, we must be on steroids. It's like, well, they look at a guy like you. They may say, well, he might be on steroids. Well, that might be true, but you don't just shoot steroids and all of a sudden you know how much hard.
Good point. You can't out-train a bad diet.
You can't.
And we're close to the same age. Not really, but you remember the old saying, you are what you eat.
That's so true, isn't it? Because it's not like you can shoot steroids and then eat M&Ms or eat fast food.
If it was that easy, all we'd have to do is prescribe steroids across the country,
and then
everybody
would
look great.
Out.
Yeah.
You know, so I just want people to know out there that you can do that, but the hard work.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure you're disciplined on your diet.
And that's it. I have to wake up. I have to eat certain times, drink X amount of fluid, get X amount of sleep. I have to work out, but not overtrain.
There's no such thing as training too much.
Yeah.
Then you start hurting the muscle.
Yeah. You break it down and it won't repair the inflammation that occurs.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah. And everyone's like, well, just ice afterwards. But ice decreases. Evidence has shown that ice will decrease repair. So you want the inflammation.
You kind of do.
For a short period.
And isn't there a thing too where like there's a thing where you can do where you want to tear the muscle kind of and let it rebuild itself?
Every time you lift, you could lift your gym bag and tear the muscle.
Gotcha. But it's like there's a thing to that. Like you want to target different areas every day. You want to let certain...
And let them heal.
Yeah, so like someone like you, who's obviously, you're in great shape, bro.
Thank you.
You're very well... No, I mean, seriously. But you probably have a very strict... Do you like write down your reps on certain days? Are you doing certain...
I keep a journal of every workout. The reps, the rest periods.
Really? And why? Why would you do that?
Because I want to know I'm competing against myself. how did I perform today versus tomorrow or the next time? What was different in my day?
Okay.
Did I get enough fluid? How was my sleep? My stress levels?
So you'll write down your sleep schedule.
Everything.
You'll write down your
I'm
water
always
intake.
journaling. My food.
You have
the time.
I don't have one on. You have like an Apple Watch?
I do.
I know one of those will track your sleep. We'll track all that kind of stuff for you.
It tracks everything health-wise. I utilize that for my sleep, my active calories burnt, my steps, because I have to get X amount of steps a day.
Okay. So someone like you, I was going to say, with the steps, so someone like you, because you're building muscle,
right?
Do you tend to take it easy on the cardio, or is cardio a very
Cardio's important every day, because what is word? Break it down. What is cardio?
It's for your heart, right? It's your cardiovascular
and circulatory and pulmonary.
Right.
Cardiopulmonary, cardiovascular. Why wouldn't you want to do that every day?
I just know a lot of. I mean, I personally just know guys in the industry that are like, I don't ever do cardio. I'm like,
and that's the old school before science came in and said, let's get. So it's very specific. So let's take, for instance, Arnold Schwarzenegger. If Arnold Schwarzenegger were to compete today,
okay, you're good.
He probably wouldn't have won a show.
Huh. Well, again, we're going back how many years with Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know?
He was a pioneer. And my hat's off to those pioneers. They trained very hard because they had to train hard.
Right.
They didn't have the knowledge. They didn't have the tools we have today.
Right. They didn't know about all the... That's another thing, too, when we talk about tools. So we're going to go back to your supplements.
Right.
I mean, so, like, I've heard the good and bad about this. What is with certain protein powders? So I've heard they can be bad for you, too.
Well...
And there's whey protein, there's hemp protein, there's protein isolate. Someone like you, if someone was getting into fitness and they were like, hey, Brooke, what kind of protein should I use and how often should I use it?
And that's a great question. Anytime you put something in your body, it has to be broken down.
Okay.
So that's our GI system.
Yes.
As bodybuilders, we're eating so much food. We're always taxing our GI system. I'll eat 6 meals a day. And I don't mean small meals.
You're eating 6
big meals.
And you're eating like chicken, steak, turkey.
Yes. A lot of rice, a lot of creamed rice, a lot of potatoes.
I love potatoes.
All right.
I do a whole potato every morning.
Start eating the red potatoes. They're beautiful. They're excellent for you. Sweet potatoes are good.
Okay. I do a lot of wrestling.
You know, if you can throw a sweet potato in there every once in a while, that's good too.
I've heard the sweet potato, the way it breaks down is better for you.
Yeah.
It breaks down.
It actually promotes fat burning as well.
That's what I've heard. I've heard nothing but great things about sweet potato. So, as far as the protein, do you have anything you recommend to it?
I do. The way the proteins are, if you want, it's how quickly it breaks down.
Okay.
So milk-based proteins, harder to digest.
What should be considered whey protein?
No.
Okay.
That'd be milk caseinate.
Okay.
The whey proteins, you'd want to shoot for a hydrolyzed whey isolate. Okay. So it allows it to break down easier in the system and doesn't just go right through you. Some of the proteins you buy in the stores and you drink them and boom, you're running to the restroom.
They're not staying. You're not getting. It's just going.
It's not a stable protein. And it's going right in.
It's going in and out.
Right.
So, if you had so what's the specific kind of protein you'd recommend?
So hydrolyzed whey isolate.
Okay. And how many grams should someone shoot for?
Well, now that's
depends on your goals,
your
right?
goals. Absolutely. So, your body weight. It's a personal thing.
So like just a rule of thumb. Maybe your body weight a day if you're active in grams.
I'd shoot for 1.5 to 2 grams of my body weight.
Okay.
And I'm 210 pounds.
So you're trying to put at least 400 grams of protein.
At least 300 grams to.
Really?
At least.
Every day?
Every day.
Wow. That's a lot. That's a lot.
It seems like a lot. And if you talk to the FDA, I'm dead man walking. Do I look like dead man walking?
FDA.
Well, we're not going to go into that because that's a political thing.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
And we don't want to piss anybody. Well, but you know what? We got to say what we feel.
But I'm just saying, like, without getting political, I mean, the FDA, like, I literally was, when I was setting up the cameras and stuff here, I was talking to you about how I love to eat Sour Patch Kids.
Right.
And I was just like, well, they have some sugar in them, but if I don't eat too many, I don't do them all the time, who cares? It's just a little bit of sugar. Mm-hmm. But then you learn it's not the sugar. It's the damn food. It's the dyes.
All the additives, yeah.
And the FDA approved it.
Of course.
You know? And then I think Kellogg's is under some kind of scrutiny right now because of the way they've been promoting their foods. I heard a lot of Kellogg stuff is just dog crap. Right.
And it's funny you mentioned that because it used to be, they had a commercial, Special K. If you can pinch more than an inch, you're fat. Who can't pinch more than an inch?
I think the other Special K on the street's probably healthier than the Special K you can buy in the
that's
store.
on the topic. Yeah, but you're probably right.
Gee whiz. You know, it's scary to think what's allowed in some of our foods. Mm-hmm. You know, and I don't know the exact, I can't break you down the exact ingredients, but I know like in other countries, like McDonald's will be healthier for you than it is here. Yeah. We allow so much more crap.
Processed.
processed crap here. They don't allow it in
America
other
used to
countries.
be a beacon for healthcare,
That's a beacon for money, profit.
pharmacology, I believe. Yeah.
Right? A lot of pharmaceutical drugs that people
Right.
go on. Like I feel like, and you could maybe enlighten me more on this, but I feel like there's some people out there that have like some health problems and stuff. Like with that, working out and diet and drinking more water would probably fix. But instead, you want to eat a pill and keep on with your
Right. Well, everybody wants easier, softer path.
It doesn't, it's so true though, right?
Yeah, 100%. But then we watch movies and we idolize the people who, like the Rockies, who actually put the work in, or the suffrage, to go through suffrage.
Dude, a lot of people.
It's our alter egos.
Right, but there's a lot of, like you said, I look at someone like you and people going back to the whole TRT thing. There's people out there like, oh, he just don't. It's like
He's just on gear.
oh, yeah, and a lot of fucking and a lot of freaking work, a lot of work. Someone like you, like you said, you're eating your certain foods every day. You're not
Every
putting
day.
crap on your
No.
body. You're drinking a lot of water. You're getting probably proper sleep.
100%. I need
Yeah.
at least 7 hours of sleep today, and I mean sleep time, not in bed time. Sleep time.
Sleep
Of actual
time.
Sleep time.
You're not on your phone.
No.
2 or 3 hours.
Right.
Sleep.
No TV. No nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. That's I heard proper rest.
And if you're
is-
like if you're gonna at night or in the morning, it's the sleep time. So if you're gonna goof around and have sex at night, well, you better make sure you allot for that in your sleep time.
yeah, get at least someone like you
Right.
that trains like you recommend at least 7 hours a night or day or however you're.
For me, I need it. It's a personal thing. Some people can get by. Our president gets by 4 hours to
he's
6 hours.
Shout out to our president.
Yeah.
He's not a bodybuilder. There's gotta
No,
be,
but he surrounded himself with health fitness people.
yeah. He
Look
has-
at our new health director.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I-
make
I-
America healthy again. I
Yeah,
love that.
I love that too. I really do. And if you're against that, I don't.
You know, if I don't know how anybody can be against making America great again. You might be against the movement and the individual,
Yes, I can agree with that.
but the making where you live great again,
Making us healthier as a species.
and that's just one aspect of it. Yeah,
And one thing I'll say that because I've hung out with some unhealthier people
Sure.
before, and one thing I like about just even if you're not a bodybuilder,
Mhm.
that I have always been an advocate for a healthier lifestyle because you feel better. You wake up and you feel good. Like I could jog a couple miles if I needed to. I could go for a hike right now if I wanted to. You know, I can touch my toes.
your limitations are less.
Are way less than people that are younger than me that don't work out at all.
And
It's
see,
like,
that's what you don't have to be a bodybuilder to do that though.
no.
That's
what I'm
just
saying.
called living a healthier life, and that's what I promote.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm a bodybuilder, and a lot of my clients are athletes who are bodybuilders, but I also have a lot of lifestylers who just want to live healthier.
Yes.
And they're more fun. More fun because they're open to hearing more stuff.
And because they want to do like
They want to
wanna
be
do
better. Yeah.
You know, that's one thing I was going to compare it to is when you said when you're in here, when you're bodybuilding and you're in this atmosphere. It's one thing I like about golf. You could put me in a tournament, you could put me in a foursome, whatever. I'm not playing against anybody else in that course.
No.
I'm playing against
You're in your own bubble.
me. I'm playing me in the course and staying and making sure I'm staying like with bodybuilding. You're going to try to have a positive attitude. The golf course, you can't go out there with a crap attitude. You're going to start falling apart.
In that life, though, you want to have a positive attitude?
You know,
There's too much negativity around us as it is.
Exactly.
We need to just dial in and be more accepting and loving of what's going on in the world.
positive life, man, positive results.
Right.
I've always been an advocate of that. I've always been a believer in
So probably that self-fulfilling prophecy.
waking up, feeling good about yourself, and doing something like whether you hate him or love him. There's some things I agree with him, and there's things I disagree. But you know, Andrew Tate.
Okay.
And listen, one of his greatest quotes I like is like, especially just being a man.
Mm-hmm.
Man to man is he's like, oh, you're depressed? Oh, no one cares. Did you train today? Did you train today? Because no one does care. And I like that. Like, did you train today? Get up and do something.
And it's funny you say that because depression, psychosocial issues are treated with workouts.
It's true, bro. It's so true.
Being a doctor of physical therapy, we have to study all research. Everything has to be evidence-based. All the research points. I'm going to mention that. I'm going to actually digress a little bit. You go back, and there was a man by the name of Jack LaLanne. A lot of your listeners might not have heard of Jack LaLanne.
Okay.
Have you heard of him before?
No, he's Jack LaLanne.
Jack LaLanne was a pioneer in the fitness industry.
See before Arnold?
Yeah.
Okay.
About same age as actually older than Arnold, much older than Arnold.
Okay.
He passed away recently. But this is a man that was like in his 60s and 70s and would swim pulling yachts with his teeth.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Really?
But the big thing was he was challenging the medical community on health and fitness. Because you go back in those periods, the 40s and 50s, and the medical community felt that exercise was harmful to your health and would bring about premature death.
Are you serious?
They
That used to be a thing?
Yes, that was a thing. But you know, but in the medical community, a lot of things were a thing.
That's crazy.
Bloodletting. When you had a disease, they would bloodlet you, put leeches on you to remove what they thought was bad blood.
Doctors would come in and doctors would smoke in offices. Now we realize how
some of them still do.
Now we see how bad cigarettes are. That's one of the biggest things. I'm so glad I quit those.
Yeah.
I was a smoker for a long time.
Me too. Yeah.
And now you realize how bad cigarettes are, man.
We all got stories where we did shit that we shouldn't have done.
Right. Yeah. At least in I'm like you. If you're out there and you're struggling with anything, there's always someone to talk to. There's always 100%. Something you can do about it, man. I don't like
just to better whatever's going on.
Like are you a wrestling fan at all?
A little bit.
So remember a guy who would have been our generation. You remember Diamond Dallas Page?
I do.
So his big thing now is he's helped a lot of athletes like Jake the Snake Roberts. Now he's doing Abdullah the Butcher. He does DDP yoga, and he's getting these people off their feet. And a lot of things that the doctors couldn't cure, he's curing with yoga, diet, exercise, positive mind, positive. He's such a great
where
guy.
I was going with this. Jacqueline challenged the medical community. We're now, what does a doctor recommend, or what should they recommend?
More water and working out,
diet and exercise.
Yeah, 100%.
There's actually research that shows that diet and exercise can cure over prevent, not cure, but prevent over 90% of chronic pathologies or diseases out there.
I believe
including cancer.
I believe that. I think there's obviously outside factors that we can't control, some of the air we breathe and stuff.
Sure.
But I think a lot of cancers to do with the crap we put in our bodies.
The breakdown of tissues releases toxins.
You know?
So if you're working out, the chance of breaking the tissue down where it atrophies and shrinks. And that brings me to the other point. They say, well, when you reach a certain age, you can't build more muscle. Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I'm still in the process.
Maybe you can't build like you could in your 20s or 30s, but you can always build
Always
muscle.
build.
You can. I mean, you said you're 60 years old?
Yeah.
It's nuts, dude.
And I'm getting bigger.
You know? That's not, and you feel good?
I feel, well, I have bad days.
Everyone
does. But I mean, for the most part, there's no aches, no pains.
And you said when you do it's called TRT?
TRT.
So you go to a doctor,
I go to
monitor your blood. I'm sure
they
monitor your
They
kidneys.
monitor my blood, the kidneys, the liver, the heart, all the blood functions.
That's great.
All the hormone levels.
Now
they keep it within a range.
Which you should.
Yeah.
I feel like
for health purposes.
They should. I feel like again, I think a lot of the they call roid rage or the effects of steroids are from people not going to doctors.
And there's the
people
ugly
doing
part.
Too much of it. And like you said, the addiction part, you can get addicted to taking those, correct?
You get addicted to anything, yes.
Like, it's crazy. But if I'm like you, if you're going to do something like that, because now we live in a world to where it can be monitored by doctors, you should do it. Because you're getting your kidneys looked at, your heart, your blood flow.
Everything.
Keeping it at your level.
And they're keeping it at a level. And see, that's the only synthetic I put in my body. Everything else is natural. If I can afford it, I do organic.
There's organic TRT?
No, organic foods.
Oh, yeah. So
yeah.
You believe in you don't believe the organic thing's a BS thing just to get more money out of food?
Well, some yes, some no.
Right? So what foods would you recommend that you should always buy organic if you can?
Any food you can afford.
Okay. So go any vegetables, any fruits.
I've heard guys say, well, there's certain times I eat bananas.
I love bananas. I eat one a day.
All right. And doctors used to recommend that, especially to people who weren't active. Well, banana breaks down in sugar very fast, very high glycemic index. So pretty soon, if you're not working out, then you're going to wind up with diabetes and heart disease, and you're back on medication.
What's every fruit? If you're not
not all fruits. No, not true.
Really?
Avocado's a fruit.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and most people don't.
I didn't know avocado
It's a superfood. It's higher in potassium than a banana, and they don't recommend that.
And they don't have the sugar the banana does.
Right.
So people who don't
It's a healthy fat.
Can eat, yeah. There's another thing that you can address. Just because the word fat doesn't mean it's bad.
No.
Your brain needs
we were convinced back in the 90s that fat was the problem in heart disease. New evidence is always showing that the sugar. It's the sugar. The sugar causes the plaque. The sugar causes diabetes. Insulin.
So
lack of insulin sensitivity.
Here's my opinion on sugar. I think too much sugar. I think a little sugar is okay.
Sugar's an energy source.
So if you're using it,
right.
If you're sitting on your butt all day, I'd stay away from it as much as
well,
you can.
Sugar releases insulin. It breaks down to glycogen. And how quickly there's different glycogen indexes. So it's the timing of the food, what we eat, pre-workout, post-workout, first thing in the morning, late night, and such, but it releases insulin. Insulin's a storer. So it takes whatever's in the bloodstream, puts it in the cells, and there's certain things we can do to block and actually accelerate that.
Right.
But if you're not burning it,
That's how you get the type 2 diabetes.
the more insulin you have released, yeah.
Yeah, right?
Because it becomes insensitive after a while.
Man. Yeah, I really feel like people in this country, I can't contest any other countries, but I've heard we're a very unhealthy country for the most part. And it's a lot of it comes down to processed food and too much sugar. My opinion.
Yeah. Our diet's the number one killer.
You know, I mean, I like a good bowl of ice cream nightly, but you know, I like to, at the same time, I love working out. I'm in the gym at least 4 or 5 days a week because I like it.
Beautiful.
But Matt, I think that helps you.
It also helps with the mental because it releases serotonin.
That's so
it
true.
releases dopamine.
That's so true. That's so true.
They used to focus on the point before they gave these depression meds or anti-anxiety medications, workout.
Yes.
Now, there are extreme levels that might require it because it's just gotten too out of control. But it should be a temporary thing. It shouldn't be a permanent thing.
Dude, every time I felt, even if I already hit the gym once, every time because we all, like you said, we all go through stuff. So every time I felt sad or something overwhelming happens to me, even if it's just putting some headphones on and walking on the treadmill or walking around the community that I live in, or just lifting 30-pound dumbbells and just do it. And you automatically feel
you don't even have to be at the gym. I remember when I was in the fraternity in college, I couldn't afford a gym membership. We had cinder blocks. So I'd do cinder blocks. Or when I was working construction, I would get out there and carry the campaigns like I
carry them like when I before I moved out to Vegas and got into adult entertainment. I've talked about it in my book. I used to work at this company called Bunzel. It was a warehouse, so we were the cherry pickers. So you would fill up a pallet and you load up a semi with it. But they had these gates on the top of it you could do perfect pull-ups on. So every load I jump off, I'd rip off 10 pull-ups. Then I try to rip off 15.
I can see that. Yeah, I'd walk by construction sites and get on the scaffolding and do a pull-up.
Yeah, man. Do stupid crap like push-ups.
You can do push-ups at home, and they don't have to be flat. You can do them on your bathroom counter to start, or the kitchen counter.
I like where you're going with this because everyone always has an excuse.
Right.
And there's no excuses when it comes to...
And the beautiful thing is, I don't feel comfortable in the gym. Well, I get that. I get that 100%. Because there's places we don't feel comfortable. So start at home.
Start at home. And by the way...
There's no reason not to work out.
For people who feel uncomfortable in the gym, we understand that. I know you do, but I'm telling you, there's places like this. You know, I know there's membership fees and stuff, but nothing but great people here. And there's guys like Brook here that if you come up and ask them some health questions, they're going to help you.
100%.
They're going to give you a positive outlook on working out and just doing better.
I've been there. I know it.
And when you're around other people, like you said, that want to do better, it kind of motivates you. And you're like, oh, okay. And then like there's been times where I've been in the gym where I've looked over and I might see, oh, I've never seen a guy do that workout. And I'm like, I'm going to try that. I want to add that.
Or go ask him what he's doing.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Right.
There's been plenty of times where I've asked, guys that look like you, how's my form? I heard form's a lot, right?
Well, think about this. If you're off 1 degree, you're not going to notice it as much in your lifting. Even 5 degrees, very hard to see. If you're off 5 degrees and you want to head to, I don't know, let's say Hawaii, you might wind up in Russia or...
No, I see what you're saying.
You see what I mean?
Over
the long term, yeah.
You're saying like you, like someone like
and that's
you.
what we're always lifetime
slow,
folk.
Right?
Well, that's the type of workout. I do that because I'm in hypertrophy right now. This is my off season.
Okay.
So I'm here to build muscle but stay lean. As a pro, you build to stay lean. You stay lean year round. So our body fat doesn't go above 12%. As an amateur, the old school, tubba, off season, eat what you want, have fun, no accountability, but when season starts, you dial in. Well, you only get so far and you're burning muscle, dialing in. We can't afford to burn muscle.
Yeah, you don't want to.
Because we've worked so hard to build it that we don't want to burn it.
Right. It's a lot of good points, man.
And everybody wants to be lean.
Right. I got lucky. I don't know what it is with me. I don't know if you can tell me what kind of body type I have, but I've got accused of being on uppers all the time. And I don't even do drugs. I'm naturally.
You were blessed with a fast metabolism.
I feel it burn. I eat a candy bar, I feel it burn. It's gone. I never feel that feeling, but I've always worked out. I've always been active, but I feel like even if I didn't work out, I'd be a skinny fat. I'd probably, because you said eventually it's always going to get to your belly. It always is.
Well, that's the first place gravity takes to accumulate.
Right.
The older we get, though, the belly fat then becomes around the organs. systemic to protect. So fat's a protection mechanism. It also breaks down for energy.
Right. As far as your workout routine, how many days a week do you like to work out, and how many hours a day are you working out?
Great question. I'm on a periodization program. And all of the guys I work with, I set them up on periodization programs because what it does, and there's 4 types of periodization programs, depending on what your goals are. But I have 4 phases, and it's a progressive overload. So it prevents burnout. It also allows the muscle to have memory, or what they call neuro.
Okay.
And because the nerves are what direct the muscles to perform.
Gotcha.
And how many fibers. So there's days I'll perform 4 days on, 1 day off. Then there's days I will go 3 on, 1 off. And then there's a phase where I'll go 6 on, 1 off.
Okay. So there's times.
And these are all off season.
Well, so what about when you're on season or in season?
I'm working with a new coach right now who's put me on this program, and we work together and we talk and we sit down and goals and we look at my body type and I check in every week with them. In season, probably 6 on, 1 off, maybe 5 on, 1 off, depending on how your body reacts.
It's always important to at least get 1 off. You got to give that day.
The day for rest, allow everything to recover.
Now, do you do anything on your day off, or is that your day to kind of sit and just chill?
I do a lot of stretching.
Okay.
As a pro, I'm posing.
So you'll practice your posing?
My posing, my stretching. If you go into my apartment, it looks like, well, a little mini health club because I've got foam rollers, stability balls, bands. So I'm doing a lot of dynamic stretching. I'm rolling the tissue out. I'll have a masseuse come over, and she'll come over and just break up all the restrictions in my body.
And that's all adding to your physique. That's all helping you, and that's all part of your recovery day.
Right.
So your off day, you're technically still, even though you might not be in the gym.
Do we get an off day from life?
I wish sometimes we could hit the timeout button.
Sure.
My bills didn't keep coming.
Right.
And life didn't keep, and I could just pause everything.
Yeah,
for
pause,
days.
right.
Gee whiz. No, that's a good point, man. You have a very good outlook on life, and I like that.
It wasn't always like that, though. It takes time. Everybody thinks I was born like, no, I had to develop this.
Right.
Everything takes development. We all start somewhere.
You have to train your mind, man.
And you do it by repetition.
Right.
And the right direction.
And
you can, they used to say repetition breeds perfection. No, it breeds permanence. Whatever you're repeating over and over and over again, it's going to become permanent. So if you've got bad form and bad habits,
it's going to be permanent.
Permanent.
Yeah, you got to fix yourself.
So then it requires, and that's why I'm always examining what's going on. When I said I journal, I'm writing everything down to see the effect on my body and my mind.
That's
because I'm a big believer in mind, body, and spirit. All 3 tie together.
You have to. You have to. I think your mental health is just almost as important, if not more important.
And your spiritual health, if it's off.
That's true, man.
I'm not promoting, we go to church and sit around and pray all day long because,
you should have some kind of
understanding that we are not God.
No, we're definitely not.
But bodybuilding promotes this immortality. And the Greeks did that. They thought they were immortals.
Oh, yeah. Well, ask, what's his name, Matt? Poor guy.
All of them. They're all dead now.
A few of them that passed away. What was that big? Was it Rich Piana? That dude was bigger in life. But, I mean, your health and your heart can only take so much. And he even admitted it. And correct me out here if I'm wrong, viewers, but he even admitted that he was doing stuff that people shouldn't do.
Yeah.
And it's like
to the extremes.
To the extreme. And again, I think
that could have been part of his addiction.
That's what I was about to say. Everyone has something,
right?
And that was his addiction.
I'm learned to manage my addictions in a healthier way. Sure, I could be taking so much stuff where I could look like, well, look at the wall.
Right. I think you look like that, basically.
Well, no, I'm not as big as these guys.
Yeah,
this guy works out here. This guy's from Japan. That guy's an ex-Mr. Olympian.
Oh, this guy behind me works out here?
Yes.
Oh, what's his name?
Sergio.
Okay, Sergio. Is he a
obviously professional?
He's a professional. Yeah. So, speaking of professional, what levels are there, and what level are you doing, and how do you compete? Is it all about posing? And I know we've seen that.
Well, the posing brings out everything you've done.
Okay, that's what you're training for. That's stage time.
Right, and there's a man by the name of Dana White. Everybody's heard of him. Who should have heard of him?
Who?
Dana White.
Oh, the UFC guy.
Right,
of course.
And he always says, "Take it out of the judge's hands." Why give the judges the opportunity to give it to somebody else? So all the clients I work with who are competitors, posing is the number one thing we do. Because that's where you show everybody's going to be on stage looking good.
Because you could have everyone could have a great.
But how do you show it?
And there's probably different ways of flexing and
right,
turning
and the position of your body, activate certain muscles to bring them out, to bring out your back, and to bring out the chest. Breathing techniques. So I practice my breathing in the morning, first thing when I wake up, when there's no food in.
Yeah, I noticed that too. When I've seen this stuff on. They get on that stage and they're holding these poses, and you can tell they're not just up there just.
Yeah.
They're trying to do certain things,
and the higher up you go in competition, the longer you're going to have to hold a pose, because it's a measure of your conditioning.
That does make sense. Holding the pose would take effort.
And there's different poses depending on the division you're in. Open bodybuilders right here, different type of posing. There are also judges who are looking for different things in them.
Okay.
I'm men's physique.
Okay.
I'm masters, over 35. Actually, I'm over 60.
But,
so I competed. When I turned pro, I won the overall.
So, just to rewind a tad. So, what you compete in is called the Masters.
Right.
Speaking of the
men's
Masters,
physique.
The Golf Masters is this week. Kicks off on Thursday. It's my favorite tournament. But as far as bodybuilding, there's a competition.
The Masters division.
It's called the Masters division.
Now, as a pro, I can compete against the younger kids, but I know my limitations.
So you say you're a pro, correct?
Yes.
So what makes you a pro, and how do you become a pro?
You start at the amateur level.
Okay. Which means anybody can start there.
Everybody's starting there.
Okay. Everyone starts amateur.
Right.
Okay.
Unless you're making money at it and collecting a check of some sort or another, you're an amateur. Now, they have different categories. They've got true novice. If it's your first bodybuilding show, you want to go true novice.
Okay.
Everybody in true novice, it's their first show. Then there's novice. Novice means that you've been up in bodybuilding, but you haven't won a show yet. And then you can go into open or masters. You can do all of them if you want, if you've not competed. But if you've competed before, you can't do true novice.
Okay.
Now,
that makes sense.
To qualify for a national show, you have to place in a certain category to qualify for national. It's open or masters. You have to place.
By place is what? Top 3, top 10, top 5?
It depends on the division you're in.
Okay. But you have to place.
Well, yeah. And I tell my clients, if you didn't win your division, and if you're young, some of my younger clients, if you didn't win the overall, being the best person on stage, then you don't belong going to the next level. The next level will be a national show.
Ah, okay. That makes sense.
Now, national shows, the same thing. National shows, though, you have to win your division.
And you've done national.
Yes.
And you've won.
I won my division over 60, and then I won the overall for 60.
No way.
Yeah.
Dang.
And then 4 days later, I was like, I'm here. There's a pro show going on. I entered and I won.
No way.
I won my debut pro show over 60.
That's great. And then you get, like, I know with golf, you get like you get like a card, like you're a pro card now, or now you're.
Yeah, like in golf, you have to pay for your pro card.
Okay.
You have to pay for pro card, very small fee. And
but you can't just pay for it. You have to earn it.
You have to earn it. You have to qualify to pay for it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, which means you have to win a national show, and then they send it in saying you're now qualified to be a pro.
That's gotta feel good.
It does feel good. It's like
gotta feel good to win,
everything
bro.
you've worked for.
Yeah. Especially, I mean, again, I'm not trying to antagonize you, but especially at your age. I mean, geez, bro.
Well, but I compete against 60-year-olds.
But you said you compete against 30-something-year-olds too, correct?
I have, but I don't always beat them.
But you do sometimes.
On the amateur level, not the pro level.
Okay. But
I've only done one pro show. I'm getting ready right now, off season, to go back and defend my championship. My goal is in 3 years to qualify for the Masters Olympia, which means I've beaten the 40-year-olds and the 50-year-olds.
So within 3 years, your goal is to qualify for what they call Masters Olympia?
Correct.
Yeah, I think you can do it. You have the mind frame
if I didn't, what am I doing?
Right. And so I know it's like they talk about the wrestling business. It's like, if you ain't getting into this business to be champion, what are you doing here?
It's like, you remember Tiger Woods?
Oh, yeah.
People used to enter just trying to be second place.
Not him.
No.
He's going.
That's why he was number one.
Number one. There's a handful of them that have been like that.
Yeah.
The new Tiger Wood guy now is Scotty Scheffler.
Mm-hmm.
He's really
dominating the
stage. Just dominating. He's doing really well.
It's because golf's progressed and the techniques and everything. I grew up with Jack Nicklaus.
I was about to bring him up.
Warm-ups were just hitting golf balls with pitching wedges, a little stretching, and you start with your pitching wedge and you work down to the irons, and then
now,
before you break. Now it's like you're Same as like bodybuilding. We do a warm up before we even start lifting. We do dynamic stretching, same thing.
But it's different. And like you said with the golf, the balls have gotten better, the heads have gotten better, the drivers
Technology.
are better, the technology's better. It's like in the gym, the technology is great now, man.
Yeah, they've got, because in bodybuilding, in any pro sport, longevity is key. And longevity is by managing your injuries.
Right.
The injuries have taken Tiger Woods out of golf.
And that happens to everybody, man.
It's called growing older.
It is. But at least he can look back
And know what he did.
Know what the hell he did.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, Absolutely.
And to say there will never be another Tiger Woods, you can't say that.
You can't say that. You can't.
Because people thought there would be never be another Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus, Lee Trevino.
Never be
all the
another
other guys.
Arnold. Now you got guys that are just like you said. Like
Byron Nelson, yeah.
So
it depends on how far back you go.
We're always progressing.
Always evolving in some way or
Same
another,
with
getting better and better and better. They got equipment now. Because as a 6-year-old, I have breakdown in my cartilage, so I'm developing arthritis. Okay. I need equipment that's going to target more of the muscle bellies than the joints. They do a lot of equipment.
That's great. That's like I said, that everything is progressive, and it's even with I used to skateboard a lot as a kid.
Okay.
Some of the stuff these kids are doing now, kids are nuts.
The days of Tony Hawk when he was doing the 90s.
No, Tony Hawk's great.
He's great, but he was a pioneer.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Especially in the vert, and he came out as a pro skater and all that. If you had any advice to give anybody out there, what would be your best advice to somebody?
Figure out what you want and be patient. But do one step daily towards achieving whatever you're doing. Whether you feel like it or not. But be patient with yourself. Not patient when I say patience, I mean not saying, well, I'll be patient, I'll do it tomorrow. Because there was a Broadway show called Annie. Tomorrow's just a day away. It's the day it never comes. It's the easiest excuse.
It is, too.
But start today. Do something.
Every day.
And get the right direction.
I love that. I do. I love that.
And it just starts adding and accumulating.
It does. Before you know it.
None of these guys here, myself, we didn't start. And everyone's like, it's genetics. Genetics to me is kind of a cop-out. Sure, genetics have a small part, but not the part everybody says. That's the way for the person who doesn't want to show up every day.
Right.
For the person that says they're just on gear. Yeah, they're on gear, but they show up every day and they work and train hard.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day. You can't, like you said, if you could just take gear and not do anything, everybody would be looking like you.
Right.
Yeah, because
you can't out-train a bad diet.
You can't.
You can't out-train improper rest.
Yeah, so
and
good
hydration.
Diet, good sleep, good hydration, pick a goal, work towards it a little bit every day. And I feel like just coming to the gym, even if you're not a bodybuilder, just for lifestyle, I mean, that's never a bad thing.
Right.
You know,
if you can't afford a gym,
or if you're uncomfortable in the gym,
sure,
there's stuff you can do at home.
Absolutely.
You can get on YouTube right now and look up tutorials on home workouts.
100%. Everywhere.
Everywhere. There's no excuse
Yeah,
anymore.
no. I mean, I have an app that helps people with home workouts and also helps them with.
What's your app?
It's drbrookfit.com.
drbrookfit.com.
Yeah.
They can find you on Instagram where?
At Dr. Brook Fit, IFBB Pro.
Okay, cool. We'll put everything there. And so
cool.
Dr. Brook Fit, drbrookfit.com. They can download your app.
Right. I also provide one-on-one coaching online.
Okay.
I do personal training to individuals. More so for athletes because I take the personal training level to a whole nother level where I start using electrotherapy.
Okay.
So we activate the nerves to get the muscles to get a better mind-muscle connection with whatever muscle you're firing.
Okay.
So we use electrodes and
all right. I've heard of that.
AC current.
Shocking
if you remember a man by the name of Bruce Lee.
Oh yeah.
Well, not somebody. Yeah, his abs were shredded.
Yeah.
He used to sit and put electrodes on his abs and read scripts with just the electrodes going, and all he would do is flex his abs every now and then.
I got a pretty good abs, man. Maybe I should start doing that to really bring them out.
We'll talk about those.
You know? But so. They can download your app on your website.
Right. They can go.
Coaching,
They
advice,
can
all that
DM me
stuff
on
there.
Instagram.
DM me on Instagram. And I'm telling you, from knowing this guy, and talking to him, you're a very positive guy. So if anybody looking for like a good place to work out, this is a Cult Fitness.
Cult Fitness.
Right here in Henderson, Nevada.
Yep.
At drbrookfit.com, you can download his app. He has, I'm sure through your app, you have all kinds of health advice, all kinds of plans.
Everything
we talked about.
I cover nutrition, supplements, rest, hydration. I start at a workout that is suited to what you need based on your goals.
Exactly. Like going back to what we were saying before. Don't
and where you're at
compare yourself to
experience-wise. My workout's not a workout that everyone else has done.
I can do your workout.
No, well, most people can't because I've sat with my coach and we figured out how my body responds.
You worked for that.
And I have check-ins with people all the time, my clients that are coming in, lifestylers as well. Monitor, see how the body's shaping, how their workout. I check their stress levels, their diet, their sleep patterns.
Yeah, so they can get all that through your app and on drbrookfit.com.
Yeah, you get that through my one-on-one program. The app doesn't cover as much.
But through drbrookfit.com, they can get a hold of you to do your
Right.
one-on-one program.
Right, or
everything they need
on
there is
Instagram,
on
DM me.
DM me on Instagram.
Right.
So DM him on Instagram. Get to him at drbrookfit.com. Brooke, you've been an amazing.
Thank you, brother.
I really appreciate. I like meeting people with the positivity that. I just like positive people. People that have seen my interviews in the past, we always maybe don't make the right decisions. We all have our bad days, but for the most part, stay positive, man. And no matter what you do.
You attract so much more.
You know, and I always advocate this towards the end of my podcast. Drugs are never the answer.
No.
They're never the answer. You know, if you're having a little bit of fun, want to sip on some alcohol, or because you're celebrating something, great. But if you're using that stuff
just to manage daily,
it's never the
and
answer.
I mean, I get it. I grew up smoking a little dope here and there.
Well, according to you earlier, you did more than that.
Yeah, but I'm saying,
look how you turned out.
Yeah, well, but again, I went to the extreme, and I got no problem with people smoking a little dope, or you know what I mean.
Put your hand up again. Look at those veins. They just put his hands up. That's
so I mean, it's like I got no problems with that.
That's when you get your blood work done. They don't make you. You don't have to.
Oh no, we still do that because we want to make sure the blood comes out
Yeah,
fast.
yeah, right. That's the tattoos I have. I hate needles, but Brooke, you've been an amazing.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you so much for having me.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah. I appreciate you. We're almost alike in personalities.
Yeah,
we just come from different
little backgrounds.
Yeah,
you know, you're a bodybuilder
different futures.
Guy. I'm a golfer guy, but we all have this. I like how we, as far as like just being positive, just be positive, man.
It's about showing up and bringing your best.
Showing up and bringing your best, and my golf instructor and I talk about sometimes some of the greatest rewards that make you feel the best are the ones that you set for yourself that you don't tell anybody about, that you accomplish on your own, that you knew was hard to accomplish and you did it without any praise, but you know you could do it and you did it.
Or if you just told your small circle, because there's always going to be people going to knock you and tell you can't do stuff.
Yeah. Arnold calls those the naysayers.
Okay, yeah.
You know? So again, we're at Cult Fitness here in Las Vegas, or we're in Cult Fitness here in Henderson, Nevada. My name's Tyler Made. This is Real Vegas Podcast. Real people, real conversations. Make sure you smash that like and subscribe button. We have a new episode coming out every Thursday. Thank you again for watching. And Brooke, dude, thank you so much.
Thank you, brother.
You have a great day, friend.
You too, brother. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for watching Real Vegas Podcast. Real people and real conversations. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.